Hello, welcome. My name is Brian. This is Brian's Mostly Metal Updates. Collection update number 1. Now, this is my first ever YouTube video, so I thought I would speak for a moment before I start showing off what I bought, kind of tell you what's going on here. So, long story short, I had a music collection. Most people are sitting in front of their music collection when they do these videos. I sold my music collection at some point. 20 years ago or so. I needed money. I sold everything. All my records, tapes, CDs, everything got sold. Not everything, almost everything. Out of all my records I owned, 2 survived. So I'll go ahead and show you right now. This is my vinyl collection going into this. The first thing I'll show you is Mortem, Coroner's Office from 1986. New Renaissance Records. This is a thrash band from Massachusetts. The vocalist, I think, is a little more crossover thrash, but they're really good. Photo collage on the insert, lyrics. I saved this one, I think, because this was the first ever record that I ever bought that was on colored vinyl. So, I don't know, I always thought that was cool. Now colored vinyl is just everywhere you look, and I'm going to show you a bunch of it in a moment. But at the time, in 1986, when I was 16 years old, I thought this was the coolest thing ever. So I think that's why I didn't sell this one when I sold everything else. It's a really good record, too. I mean, I listened to it just a couple days ago for the first time in a long time. And it's interesting enough, there's a song called I Want to Die, which is like a 12-minute doom song, basically, in the middle of a thrash album. Not in the middle, at the end, but and it followed up by Run Amok, which is like less than a minute long, like a very almost hardcore song. But the rest of the album, it's a pretty, I wouldn't say straightforward thrash album. I mean, syncopated jazz and soupy sales is a little avant-garde, let's say, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, it's a good album. The second record that I kept from my original collection is a picture disc, and that is the Voivod Thrashing Rage EP. 1986 Combat Records. I had a pretty sizable collection of picture discs. Even when I stopped buying vinyl at a certain point, in the CD era, eventually I stopped buying vinyl and bought CDs. But I never would pass up a cool picture disc. So I had quite a few. And I think this one, I didn't really save it. It was a deadbeat bidder, never paid, and I just never bothered to relist and just kept it. So that's my vinyl collection. That's what I'm starting with. I'm starting with 2 records. So fast forward to 2 months ago, I bought a turntable and decided I'm going to start buying vinyl. It's just I've always regretted selling my collection. I've never stopped listening to music. I just stopped collecting and buying physical media. So that's changed, and I bought a turntable. I bought a tape deck too. But this is going to be an all vinyl update. I decided to basically document my journey. As I collect vinyl, I'm going to share it, and hopefully somebody will want to watch it. We'll see. So what's the first thing that I bought after I bought a turntable? What did I want to listen to so bad that it's the first thing I bought? That would be Mercyful Fate, Melissa. Now, I know it's customary to talk about, here it is, insert, and lyrics. I know it's customary to talk about the band, but what can I say about Mercyful Fate? I mean, it's King Diamond. This is on Metal Blade Records, originally released in 1983. Let me take this out of here so you can see it better. I mean, came out in 1983 when I was 13. I probably didn't hear it until 1984. thereabouts. I mean, that seemed to be the year that the floodgates opened for me, was 84, where I just started checking out this and that. But Mercyful Fate, Melissa, if you've never heard Mercyful Fate, do yourself a favor, watch my video first, but then go listen to some Mercyful Fate, because you're really missing out. Next up, Mercyful Fate, Don't Break the Oath, their next album from 1984. Always love this one too. Lyrics. This is also on colored vinyl. Yellow and red marble. Mercyful Fate, if you've never heard them, these are essentials. A lot of what I'm going to show you I consider essentials. So if you're just starting out listening to metal, check these out. Especially those two, and the next 5 or 6 are just essentials. We'll talk about them when we get to them. Next up, if you want to have essentials, you got to have Show No Mercy, Slayer. Comes with and photos, lyrics, and a poster of the cover. I won't open it all the way because it looks just like this. So yeah, the first Slayer album, 1983, Metal Blade Records. It's funny, some of the Metal Blade stuff has really nice printed inner sleeves with the poly linings, and some don't. There you go. Red, black splatter. So yeah, I'm going to show you a couple more Slayer, because it's Slayer, right? Next up, their second album, Hell Awaits. Another classic, 1985, Metal Blade Records. Also lyrics, photo collage, poster of the cover. And show you the vinyl. There you go. Sorry about the glare. My lighting's terrible. Next up, last but not least, Slayer, Rain and Blood. Now this is one of those albums, I'll just say it, this is my favorite metal album of all time. Rain and Blood. I still remember buying this when it came out on cassette. Lyrics, that's about it. It's on plain black vinyl, so we won't show that. I mean, again, these are all classics. What can I say about this album? My favorite metal album. That's what I can say about it. So again, another classic. If you've never heard Rain and Blood, you're missing out. Go listen to Rain and Blood. Next up, this one you may not consider a classic. I consider it a classic, but I was at Walmart recently, bought a Kiss shirt, but also bought Anthrax, Fistful of Metal, first Anthrax metal album. Nice gatefold. All it has in it is thank yous. Not real fancy. It's a Walmart exclusive. What do they call it? Silver and black marble. Oops. You know, it's all right. But the album, I mean, it's thrash. Obviously, it's one of the big four. You know, your first album with Neil Turbin on vocals, Dan Lilker on bass. And I hadn't listened to this. I'll be honest, I hadn't listened to this since I was in high school. You know, it's not. Like I said, I think it's historically significant. Let me say that. It's probably not their best album, not my favorite Anthrax album, but I don't know. It was great to hear it again. You know, I still know all the words to the songs. You know, it's maybe it's not on the same level as everything else I've showed you so far, but I think it's worth mentioning. I wanted to have it. Next up, another one that you may disagree with as far as whether or not it's a classic. I think it's a classic, and I always will, and that's Hellhammer, Apocalyptic Raids EP. This is really heavy. It's just loaded with extra stuff. Y'all know the cover. Nice gatefold. Shot of the band. Your back cover. And this contains, had a really nice printed inner sleeve with lyrics and photos. Like a 24-page book with pictures and a couple posters. Couple of posters. You got a poster of the band. And you got kind of an X-rated poster. And the vinyl, it's buried under a pile. It's just black, plain black. But yeah, I mean, Tom G. Warrior, you know, the band before Celtic Frost. Classic. It's classic. It's okay. It's not great, but it's classic. Okay. Let me just say that. And that's all I'll say about it. I love Tom G. Warrior up to a point. Into the Pandemonium wasn't great, but you know, I listened to it. I owned it on cassette. But Cold Lake, I've got a Cold Lake story that I'll tell maybe later in another video. But that, I mean, that's where my love affair with Tom G. Warrior ends, is Cold Lake. But anyway, next up, let's have some death metal. How about Death, Scream Bloody Gore, 1987 on Relapse. Let's see what's inside. Pictures of Chuck. More pictures, lyrics. And this is on red and blue butterfly vinyl. I don't know, do I need to take it out of these sleeves? Let me know. I'd rather not, but I will if it looks better. I mean, just let me know. What did I say anything about this? Death? What can I say about Death? I mean, it's I used to carry a picture of Chuck in my wallet in the 80s. Okay, that's what a big deal Death was. Okay, I probably shouldn't admit that. I didn't do that with anybody else. I had pictures of my family and I had a picture of Chuck. Okay, so it's Death. Expect more Death vinyl in the future. That's the only one I've got so far. Next up, another one that I think is classic. You may not. That would be Napalm Death, Harmony Corruption. You know, this, your nice printed inner sleeve, whole bunch of thank yous and lyrics. And that's it. It's on black vinyl. Nothing special. Earache Records. So yeah, you know the story. Grindcore band from England goes to Florida to Morris Sound Recording and make an album with Scott Burns. Make a death metal album. And it's great. What can I say? It's just a great, solid death metal album from 1990. You know, it's great. All right, that's the end of what I'll call classic must-owns. I'll show you some more things that I bought that may not fit into that category. This I consider a classic. I owned it on cassette, and that is Tyrant, Legions of the Dead. Now this, called this traditional heavy metal. The singer, Glenn May, lead vocals. This dude here, he's a screamer. He loves hitting them high notes. You got Rocky Rockwell, the guitarist. I don't know if he ever did anything else, but I don't know. Great album. Traditional heavy metal, like I said. Let me show you the record. On blue vinyl. Now, so I looked on the Metal Archives. I looked where it says, similar artists. And it's like Cirith Ungol, compared them to, and Mercyful Fate. And it's like, yeah, it's traditional heavy metal with a singer that likes to scream, but I wouldn't really, I don't know, maybe. If you listen to Mercyful Fate and you like Mercyful Fate, check out Tyrant. I've always loved this album. I mean, the lyrics are kind of like, cheesy, satanic, which is always good. Always good in my book. Next up is something new. Everything I've showed you has been from 1990 or before, I believe. So I'm going to show you something more recent. This is a band. This is their third album. Their fourth album just came out. But I didn't discover them until a few weeks ago. I'd seen the name, never bothered to check them out. And then one day, about 3 weeks ago, I checked them out and I fell in love. And that's Savage Master. This is Myth, Magic, and Steel, their third album. From Shadow Kingdom Records. Nice gatefold. They're a traditional heavy metal band with a female vocalist. There she is on the back. Let me show you the vinyl too. What do they call it? Dragon's Breath. Beautiful, right? So let me read what the hype sticker says. Dark female-fronted heavy metal for fans of Cirith Ungol, Doro, Acid, Bitch, and Witchfinder General. So yeah. Okay. Now I've not heard a lot of Cirith Ungol, but that's not what I would think of when I hear this, but I don't know. Check it out. Here's what you need to do. You need to go on YouTube. Check out The Owl, third track. That's my favorite song, I think, on this album. Everything's good. I mean, this is just, it's a solid album. But The Owl, I think, stands out for me. It's just a great track. So check out The Owl. Next up, something else new. Now let me speak a moment about bootlegs. I never owned any bootleg records before. All right. I'm new. I own a few now. You'll see those in future videos, but I'm going to show you a couple right now. First one up, this is Deicide, Eternal Torment. This is a live bootleg from 1992 from Italy. Now, like I said, I'm inexperienced with bootlegs. If all bootlegs sounded like this, I would never buy another bootleg. That's how bad this is. It's terrible. In my opinion, like I said, with my limited experience with bootlegs, this just sounds terrible. It's an audience recording. It's on green vinyl. So it's on green vinyl, green with black marble. I mean, what can I say? It's terrible. It's just a terrible audience recording that never should have been put on vinyl. It's garbage. Now, I guess that's what I get for buying something that's a bootleg, but it's terrible. So next up, I call my channel Mostly Metal Updates because once in a while I'll buy something that's not metal. This is one of those cases. If I'm not buying metal, I'm buying punk. So this is Black Flag, live at the On Broadway, 23rd of July, 1982. Nice shot of Rollins on the back. Nothing inside. On red vinyl. Red vinyl. This sounds really nice, in my opinion. Especially compared to that Deicide. There's the track list. But, I mean, overall, this is definitely listenable. Yeah, I won't say what else I got bootlegs of. I just got one in the mail today. That was so-so, you know. But generally, I don't know, I guess so far I've been happier with the punk stuff that I bought. I don't know, I guess some of the punk bootlegs I bought, I don't worry so much when the sound is kind of crappy. But the metal stuff I'm more particular with. So, I mean, that's it. That's all I've got to show you with this update. Now, I can't remember what I've said in this video because I've done so many takes already. But my goal with these videos, forgive me if I'm repeating myself, is I'm starting from scratch, and this is just a sampling of what I've bought in the last 2 months. I bought shelves. Once I do a video, I'm gonna put my records on my shelf, and I'm gonna pull out another batch to do another video. Hopefully people will watch. We'll see. But, and I hope, like I said, these, with the exception of the bootlegs maybe, these are all records that you've probably already seen dozens of times on YouTube, so I apologize that I don't have anything exciting, but I got some stuff to show you that it's all good stuff. Like I said, I'm building a collection from scratch, and these are things that I want in that collection. Now, I don't think I really need a Black Flag bootleg, but it was pretty cheap, and I don't know. I bought it and I like it. I mean, I'm not going to apologize for it, but I mean, I've only had buyer's remorse a couple times so far. I mean, most of these things, like I said, I kind of had buyer's remorse with that bootleg Deicide because it's so terrible. You know, any legitimate release I listen to, obviously. These I didn't have to listen to because I've heard them so many times. I just knew they're good. You know, other things like Savage Master, I had to stream that a couple times before I said, yeah, let me buy that. I'm starting to ramble now, so I think I'll just kind of cut it short and maybe start to work on the next video. Anyway, like, subscribe, comment, please. You know, let me know what you think. Let me know how bad it was. I've practiced these videos a few times, and honestly, I'm not getting any better, so I just decided to go for it. So this is it. So this is the end of collection update number 1. Hope you enjoyed. See ya.